In the fall of 1980, during the month of October, my wife and I made a trip over to Yellowstone Park. We went by the way of the Columbia River Gorge. Here are some of the pictures that we took on the way. The first picture is of a statue made of scrap metal on the Columbia River Scenic Highway, which is just east of Gresham, Oregon. Here we're looking at the fog over the Columbia River. In that range of mountains, in the background, may be Mount St. Helens. A marker at a lookout near Crown Point. Looking up the river, which is beneath the fog at Crown Point. This is a tourist information building at Crown Point. Latourell Falls on the Columbia River Scenic Highway. A bridge over the Columbia Scenic River Highway just below Latourell Falls. Here we have another picture of Latourell Falls. Wakeena Falls near the Columbia River Scenic Highway. Here we have another look at Wakeena Falls. The upper part of the Multnomah Falls. Lower part of the Multnomah Falls. The bridge over the center part of the Multnomah Falls. Here we're looking at a bridge which is the lower part of the upper part of the Multnomah Falls. Bridge over the Oneida River, just below the Oneida Falls. Here we have another scene of the Oneida River. You notice that open spot in the center of the rock formation. If you walk through that, you will see the Oneida Falls. Here you're looking at the Oneida Falls. This is the Horsetail Falls. Another view of the Horsetail Falls from a different angle. Here's a bottom part of Horsetail Falls and a pool of water where the falls drops into. Now we leave the Columbia Scenic Highway and go to Interstate 84. What you're looking at now is Bonneville Dam on the Columbia River. This is a scene on Interstate 90 near Post Falls, Idaho. A street scene in Wallace, Idaho. I understand that Wallace, Idaho was a mining town at one time, and the streets are very winding through town as we travel to the east. Interstate 90 in western Montana. Wooden Indians at Lincoln's 10,000 silver dollar tourist information and novelty store. Building of the Lincoln 10,000 silver dollar novelty store. This store and shop also includes a bar behind which the 10,000 silver dollars are on display. It also has a restaurant and many other small shops into it. It is on Interstate 90 in Montana. Seen on old Interstate 90 in Montana, these trees are, the leaves are changing color on them. Tall timber along both sides of Interstate 90 in Montana. Now we're nearing Yellowstone National Park. This lake you see in this picture was formed by an earthquake several years ago. Panoramic view from the highway near West Yellowstone, Montana, where we stayed while we visited Yellowstone National Park. Road leading to the entrance of Yellowstone National Park. This is the west entrance. Firehole River in Yellowstone Park. Buffaloes grazing on a meadow near a river in the park. We saw a lot of buffaloes in the park. Here are some more. A hot spring in Yellowstone Park. Now for another buffaloes. Madison River with some mountains in the background. Mount Haynes in Yellowstone Park. Elevation is 8,236 feet. Out grazing alongside the road in the woods and early in the morning at the park. Here we have an elk waiting to cross the road. Sometimes these elk, they stop in the middle of the road and stop traffic. It's not advisable to get out of the car to chase them off the road. They're dangerous. Here we have some geysers in the distance spouting off water and steam. Small geysers in the Porcelain Basin. Here we have a view of more of the Porcelain Basin hot springs. Now we have the Roaring Mountains steam vents. The elevation of this is 8,130 feet. If you get out of the car and listen closely, you can hear this mountain roar. Another view of the Roaring Mountain. They say this steam is a dry steam and it's very, very hot. This is some of the highway in Yellowstone Park. Another scene of a rocky area along the highway in the park. An elk standing in the shade. Scene at the Mammoth Hot Springs. Minerva Terrace at the Mammoth Hot Springs. Another view of Minerva Terrace at the hot springs. In this area there are boardwalks that you stay on because there's a lot of hot water running around in this area. The village of Mammoth Hot Springs. You'll notice the boardwalk in the foreground in this picture. Liberty Cap near Mammoth Hot Springs. It's an extinct geyser. Now we leave Mammoth Hot Springs and go southeast. Here we have Undine Falls. A petrified tree near Tower Roosevelt. This petrified tree has an enclosure of a steel fence. This was done because tourists took parts of this tree as souvenirs. Yellowstone River flowing over some rocks. Tower Falls on the Yellowstone River. The water drops here 132 feet. Gibbon's Falls on Gibbon's River. Now we'll make a visit at Old Faithful. This is how Old Faithful looks in its normal attitude. Now eruption begins. As the eruption progresses of its hot water and steam, this is what it looks like at Old Faithful. This is a maximum eruption of Old Faithful. The great fountain, active but not at any time schedule. It had erupted about 15 minutes before we came here. Small hot springs near the great fountain. Out crossing the Madison River in the evening. Buffalo grazing near the Firehole River. Small hot springs on the banks of the Firehole River. Kepler Falls near the highway going south out of Yellowstone Park. Small waterfall on the Lewis River. Now we're outside of Yellowstone Park. Now we're entering the state of Wyoming. These are some mountains just south of Yellowstone. This is the first view we had of the Grand Teton Mountains in Wyoming. Another look at the Grand Tetons near Jackson Hole, Wyoming, with a lake in the foreground. This is the last look we had at the Grand Tetons on this trip. Now we're in the tourist town of Jackson, Wyoming. Before we got out of the state of Wyoming, we saw the Snake River. We follow the Snake River into Idaho, and here we're on the road in Idaho. The Columbia River in eastern Oregon. Barge going up the Columbia River in eastern Oregon. Heading south on Interstate 97 and going home, and it started to rain. We did not see any snow on this trip at all. So to show you a little snow, Here's some in Grants Pass. This picture was taken in 1983. This concludes the slideshow for today. I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed them. And goodbye.